Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Sagittarius January 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing is, as far as January goes, the sun will be in Capricorn from the 1st until the 20th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time, for Sagittarius, there could be a lot of focus and concentration of energy and attention put into structure and discipline in matters with values, with one's finances, with things of a monetary nature, not really showing that discipline in monetary matters and not being overly extravagant, not being able to restrict and limit when necessary, which of course could be hard for Sagittarius because they're kind of like Leo. They could be, somewhat extravagant, I think. And then really the thing about this too is this could also be about taking responsibility for one's self-esteem and self-worth, and a strong focus and concentration of energy on that, and put a lot of attention into that at this time, and understanding that this is really about knowing that you can be responsible for your own self-esteem and self-worth, and don't let anyone else dictate that, pretty much. So anyway, well, the next thing is, as far as January goes, the sun will be in Aquarius from the 20th until the 31st. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, this could be about really strong focus, concentration of energy, and attention into perhaps independence and freedom to say what Sagittarius wants to say, which often isn't a problem for Sagittarius anyway. This could be about putting a lot of concentration of energy and attention into thinking very innovatively, thinking it with a lot of ingenuity. And this also could be about really wanting freedom in short journeys, being able to come and go as pleased. If there were any restrictions before as far as that goes, Sagittarius certainly doesn't want any of that. And Sagittarius generally is a sign that doesn't want anyone dictating commands to them, so to speak, to order them around. And they don't want to be prohibited in really any way, shape, or form anyway. So anyway, and this could also be about putting a lot of concentration of energy into matters with neighbors and siblings as well. And it could be ones that, it could be the really expression perhaps in that focus on doing things that are unique and different with those people as well. Anyway, next thing is, well, the full moon will be in Cancer on January 2nd. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time, well, this could be where Sagittarius might become full of a rather temperamental or clingy sexual partner, or it could even be really, it could also be a tax and insurance or insurance matter that really was very emotionally taxing, no pun intended, of course. Where really, which was very emotional, which maybe comes to a conclusion at this time. It could be something connected with one's shared resources may come to an end at this time. It could also be something where something is completed in terms of something with shared resources, such as a shared account, which might give Sagittarius more of that safety and security. So anyway, well, the next thing is, well, the new moon will be in Capricorn on January 16th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, this could be perhaps a new period of discipline and structure in one's finances, not spending perhaps on frivolous things. I could say perhaps a structured settlement, maybe. Perhaps maybe that's what takes place, but I'm really joking, of course. But anyway, it could also be about being Capricorn being more cognizant of being a starting period of Capricorn being more cognizant of being responsible for one's own self-esteem and self-worth, and not let anyone else dictate what that is about. And also it could be the beginning of working on something very laboriously, and it could be perhaps a Capricorn-like job or profession such as dentistry, information technology, even general mundane work. But whatever this is, this could be something that could be rather sustained and have that Capricorn-like longevity, and really be something that's a long-term financial endeavor or a goal that is initiated or embarked on at this time. So anyway, next thing is, well, Mercury will be in Sagittarius from January 1st, as far as January goes, from the 1st until the 11th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, this could be about, Sagittarius is often going to speak the veritable truth, so it's so part of their nature, but this will even be expressed more loudly, and especially if it actually is in the first house in one's natal chart on a first impression. Sagittarius will give really probably will likely be more loquacious and more talkative during this time than usual, and talking more about Sagittarius related things such as philosophy, religion, sports, and talking very enthusiastically, and maybe making a lot of more jokes than usual as well, because we're talking about first house and Mercury in Sagittarius energy, of course. So anyway, and given that Mercury is also about short journeys as well, this might figure more prominently in Sagittarius life scheme during this time than usual. So, anyway, well, the next thing is, well, Mercury, as far as January goes, will be in Capricorn from the 11th until the 31st. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, they need to guard against becoming too despondent or melancholy over financial matters, and to keep that Sagittarius head up, so to speak, and still try to be expansive and optimistic. This could also be about where there's a lot more introspective thinking regarding one's self-esteem, their self-worth, their resources. Maybe it could also be about what thinking in regards to what resources are of significance and ones that are frivolous, which ones maybe could be discarded that you don't need anymore, and retaining the ones that have certain significance and are more meaningful. So, and also the mind might be dominated by making income at this time, and with a lot of premeditation, like the Capricorn-like premeditation. So anyway, well, the next thing is that Venus, as far as January goes, will be in Capricorn from the 1st until the 17th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, this could be about strong enjoyment of responsibility injected into generating income, and really, and also, in some cases, this could be if Sagittarius is unattached. Sagittarius may find a significant prospective significant other, a romantic partner that might be at the place where they're generating income. And it could be a Capricorn sun, moon, or ascendant in some cases, or it could simply be somebody that embodies Capricorn-like characteristics. It could be an older, mature person, somebody that's very responsible, and it could just be somebody that's well beyond one's years in terms of their age and their outlook and their maturity, somebody very orthodox and conventional, and could really impact the values of Sagittarius perhaps. So, and also their self-esteem and self-worth. So anyway, next thing is, as far as January goes, Venus will be in Aquarius from the 17th until the 31st. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius at this time. So for Sagittarius at this time, this could be about perhaps the enjoyment of innovative products perhaps, and just expressing uniqueness in general with siblings, with neighbors. This could also be about, in some cases, if Sagittarius is unattached and doesn't have a significant other or romantic partner, Sagittarius may find one that might be an Aquarius sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply someone that embodies Aquarius-like characteristics. It could be somebody that's rather unorthodox, unique, unusual, ingenious, eclectic, and very unique. And it could be somebody that might be, might be a neighbor, might be in their neighborhood, might be introduced by a sibling, or somebody that they just meet in their short journeys. Or it could even be somebody that might be from their early education, perhaps. And anyway, this could be about having very peaceful connections with neighbors and siblings at this time. And really, Aquarius is about live and let live energy, and basically due to maybe that live and let live Aquarius energy, so to speak. Anyway, next thing is, as far as January goes, well, Mars will be in Scorpio from the 1st until the 26th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, this could be a lot of this vengeful and vindictive Scorpio-like energy and anger. It might be, we're talking about 12th house, might be very suppressed and repressed. And it could also indicate that the vitality and the stamina might be somewhat depleted and diminished at this time, given that we're talking about the 12th house. Maybe holding back anger towards someone or holding grudges maybe takes a little, might zap maybe the person of their energy to some degree. And also, this could be as well a lot of intense and passionate energy on private matters, in matters where Sagittarius is in solitude and seclusion. Could be a lot of energy injected into Scorpio-like things in private, such as astrology, supernatural, the occult, magic, alchemy, tarot reading, perhaps. And it could also be about being using a lot of really energy, perhaps to combat perhaps hidden adversaries, and doing things maybe to weed them out, using that energy to weed them out, and doing so perhaps with even Scorpio-like guile. So anyway, next thing is, as far as January goes, Mars will be in Sagittarius from the 26th until the 31st. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, well, this could be about really, in general, just being a little bit more energetic than usual, and a lot of this energy could be very expansive and exuberant, and people will see this readily on a first impression. I think especially more if this is actually in Sagittarius' actual first house in their natal chart. And Sagittarius might come across as a little bit more acerbic and a little bit more acrimonious than usual at this time, and even more outspoken than usual. At the same time, this could also be where Sagittarius needs to be careful, because Sagittarius is accident prone to begin with, and they have a great propensity for accidents, I believe, like Aries. Then you're talking about Mars and then the first house in the mix in Sagittarius. Well, that might actually increase that potential somewhat. So, and this could be also about putting a lot of, being more energetic at this time and having more vitality and stamina, and putting that energy perhaps into the outdoors and into sports, and really releasing maybe some of that anger through some vigorous exercise. And it could be a lot of it, given that we're talking about the first house. So anyway, next thing up, Jupiter, of course, will still be in Scorpio, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, well, this could, in some cases, expand or increase some surreptitious activity behind the scenes, because remember that, as I've stated before, though Jupiter is very strongly benign and benevolent, is paradoxical as well, could also expand and enlarge issues. And this could also expand activity, connection with hidden adversaries, ones that can be very surreptitious, ones that can be rather sneaky, but at the same time, Sagittarius may have some luck and fortune in conquering those enemies, those hidden adversaries, by using guile and really in doing and really just general perhaps resourcefulness that Scorpio really this could be too, where when you look at this, Jupiter also in Scorpio in the 12th house, this could also be an expansion of doing Scorpio-like things in solitude and seclusion. It could be doing things such as astrology, supernatural, the occult, tarot card reading, alchemy, magic, doing things, maybe even locksmith work. So this could be, those are some things to look at as far as this goes. In some cases too, I mean, if there already is, I mean, this is very rare and isolated, but sometimes this can expand or enlarge a mental illness, and it could also be about really Sagittarius. I mean, and it could be something, given that it's Scorpio energy, very powerful as well. But at the same time, Jupiter in Scorpio in 12th house energy could be also about perhaps showing a lot of benevolence in matters with people that are less fortunate than themselves, and doing it with a lot of this Scorpio, like us, very strong willpower. So anyway, the next thing is Saturn will still be in Capricorn, so the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So anyway, this could be where Sagittarius might experience certain restrictions and limitations on their income and in accumulating possessions. The income thing, some cases, might be government related. It could be where an authority figure is not giving Sagittarius a raise, perhaps is giving them a hard time, and they're having trouble increasing their income, which could leave Sagittarius sadly maybe somewhat despondent and melancholy. And this also could be about taking that serious responsibility toward one's values, toward one's self-esteem and self-worth, but at the same time there might be restrictions and limitations associated with that. This could also be in some cases where Sagittarius may be taking care of somebody that has certain restrictions or some debilitation. That might be somebody that they might generate income with. It might be somebody that might be a friend, for example, or somebody that they know very well that might work at the place where they make their money. So anyway, well, the next thing up is that Uranus will still be in Aries, so the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, this could be about perhaps some unusual or bizarre behavior in some cases from a romantic partner. It could be from a child if applicable. It also can indicate that these same people might experience a lot more ingenuity than usual and a lot more innovative ability. And this could also be about Sagittarius perhaps having maybe some Uranus-like hobbies and really in things of enjoyment, which could include, could be, for example, astrology, which could be an esoteric subject, something with electronics, computers, really just something, and it could also just be something of an unusual nature. At this time, too, keep in mind that Uranus does rule electricity, so it's just very careful for Sagittarius that they don't get, there's that a child or a romantic partner might have a little greater propensity for a shock at this time, I believe, and they also might be exhibiting shocking-like behavior since we're talking about Uranus. And anyway, as I stated before, those same people might actually be exhibiting some ingenious qualities, and given that it's Aries that that Uranus is in, it could be very pioneering as well. So anyway, well, the next thing up is that Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, well, one thing that I look at, which could be isolated though, This could sometimes be a flooding of a home, or it could be where some kind of gas might be emitted. So it's a time for Sagittarius to be careful of those things. There could be a greater propensity for maybe like a deadly, could be a really adverse gas or chemical like radon could be emitted in the home. So just be very careful and take the precautions this time, Sagittarius. And also, it could be, too, that family members might seem a little bit nebulous, or there's something unclear about these people, or confusing. In some cases, this could be the dissipation, dissolving of the home and the family life. And also, there might be some confusion as to who Sagittarius actually is at the core, and perhaps what their foundation is, what their foundation of life may be as well. This could also be about doing things out of the home that could be Neptune-like, such as the metaphysical, which could include astrology, spirituality, something with photography, chemistry, even something perhaps connected, I'd say, with healing as well. And anyway, photography could be another thing. I said that before anyway. So anyway, people, next thing, Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, well, this could be about, in some cases, the destruction or obliteration of one's finances, or it could just simply be at the place where they generate income. But remember, how Pluto can operate, it can obliterate and destroy, but Pluto is also about rebirth and regeneration. So if something goes away that is associated with Pluto, it can come back. Excuse me, second, people. So anyway, at the same time, this could also be, in some cases, about obsession or some fixation with one's money and possessions. And remember that Pluto sometimes could be compulsive energy. So, I mean, if you have something like, let's say that you got like a square from Pluto going to your natal Jupiter in the 5th house, this could be, or even like say Venus in the 5th house, you got to be careful of some kind of, in some cases, some kind of gambling urge, or some kind of obsession, overly fixation or obsession, say with gambling could be an example. And anyway, also, looking at this energy, this could also be about power struggles with the people that you generate income with at the place where you work, perhaps. It could also be about the obliteration of certain values that you feel might be outdated. And it may be, in some cases, you might feel your self-esteem and self-worth might be destroyed, but at the same time, given that we're talking about Pluto, there could be a rebirth and regeneration as far as that goes. So anyway, next thing up, well, the North Node will still be in Leo, so the 9th house will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, this could be about being, directed perhaps toward seeking attention and recognition, being lauded and praised by grandchildren if applicable, and by in-laws maybe for what they do for them. Maybe Sagittarius feels like they're not getting credit where credit's due from these people. This could also be about perhaps having to face, you talk about North Node energy in transit can often be about issues we have to confront. So this could be about maybe having to be a little bit more extravagant and generous in 9th house matters, such as in-laws, grandchildren, even matters with higher education, perhaps in long-distance traveling. It could be having to be about a little more extravagant in those areas, having to spend a little more than what maybe Sagittarius thought originally would be necessary. And it could also be, in some cases, maybe dealing with in-laws and grandchildren that might be a little bit bombastic. And also looking at this really about being maybe more generous to them, maybe in abstract thinking as well, and going outside the box, so to speak. So anyway, Well, the next thing up that I want to get at is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, well, this could be in some cases where maybe somebody at the place where they generate income, it could be someone that might be exhibiting a ruthless or tyrannical or overambitious quality, somebody that might just seem overly cold or callous, and they're just interested in making money there and not thinking about anyone or anything else. And in some cases, this actually may be Sagittarius that might be exhibiting those qualities as well, though. And also, another thing to look at too is that this could be about an unveiling or revelation that Sagittarius may have that may be about maybe a depressing or dark depressing financial situation, and maybe even something connected with their self-worth and self-esteem that Sagittarius did not want out of the bag, so to speak, but for some reason it becomes unveiled and is let out. This could sometimes be a case where somebody at the place where Sagittarius makes money at that might turn out to be a formidable adversary. That could be a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant in some cases, or it can simply be somebody that simply embodies those characteristics. Last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces. So the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time for Sagittarius, there might be some suffering and emotional wounds, perhaps connected maybe with gullibility in matters with home and family, maybe being duped by a family member or someone Sagittarius simply feels close to home with. This could be difficulty in dealing with a family member that might succumb to drugs and or alcohol, or may have some Pisces-like issues, such as something with the toes and the feet or the lymphatic system. In some cases, this also can be about Sagittarius having difficulty dealing with chaos and confusion in one's home and family life. And in other cases, well, this could be even about maybe having difficulty dealing with it in terms of confusion of who Sagittarius is at the core, and maybe some confusions regarding maybe their roots, their ancestry, perhaps even maybe what their foundation of life is really, and those can be some things that they may be looking at as far as this goes. But at the same time, keep in mind that Chiron is the wounded healer. So in the issues that Sagittarius may be having difficulty with in connection with Chiron, Pisces, fourth house energy, they could help others dealing with those similar situations and conditions, but in doing so with that Pisces-like self-sacrifice and compassion. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Sagittarius January 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time where I'll be giving you my Capricorn January 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.